Chapter 1. The weight of masculine presence. A man as presence is his first language. Long before he speaks, the room has already heard him. It is not his face, his height, or his style that asks the weight of his energy. It asks how he breathes, how he stands, how still he can remain when the world demands a reaction. The weak fill space with words, the strong fill it with silence. Because presence isn't noise, it asks gravity. It asks the invisible pressure that makes people slow down when you enter. Not out of fear, but out of recognition. They can sense something grounded, something that won't bend with every gust of emotion. That asks what real masculinity is. Not aggression, not display, not dominance, but containment. It asks having the fire, but choosing when and if to let it burn. The presence of a respected man comes from one simple truth. He is not controlled by anything outside himself. Not by people, not by mood, not by impulse. You can feel it when he walks. You can hear it when he speaks few words, chosen with precision, landing like stones. You can fake that weight. It is built over years of restraint, over 1,000 moments when the easy thing was to react, but he didn't. Every time he could be exploded but chose silence, he added a brick to that foundation. Every time he stayed composed in chaos, his presence deepened. Every time he told the truth instead of chasing approval, his voice grew heavier. That is the hidden training of masculinity, learning to stay unmoved. Not cold, but controlled. Not distant, but deliberate. Because man without presence chase validation. But man with presence radiates certainty. They don't ask for respect. They earn it by existing with alignment. Presence isn't about taking space. It asks about owning it. Not through intimidation, but through intention. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions move as one, you no longer seek power, you become it. That is why the world listens when a calm man speaks. Because it feels that he isn't performing. He isn't pretending. He means it. That is the weight of masculine presence, stillness that shakes louder than rage, a calm that silences the room. And if you ever wonder why people follow certain men without question, it is not charm. It is not charisma. It is stability. Because in a world built on noise and confusion, a man who knows himself is magnetic. That is the beginning of respect. It is not something you get. It is something you become. Chapter 2. Calm is the new power. Calm. It sounds soft, doesn't it? In a world that worships speed, noise, and instant reaction, calm almost feels out of place, like something outdated, forgotten, too gentle for modern life. But the truth is this. Calm is the final form of power. It is what remains when impulse, emotion, and fear have burned themselves out. It is what separates a man who reacts from a man who decides. Most men think strength is about pressure, lifting more, earning more, proving more. But that is just chaos disguised as ambition. Calm isn't the absence of pressure. It is the mastery of it. The calm man still feels the storm, he just doesn't let it decide for him. He can stand in fire without flinching. Listen while being disrespected, wait while others panic, and still move with intention. That is why calm men are dangerous, because nothing controls them. Not flattery, not insults, not urgency, not noise. You can manipulate a man who isn't ruled by reaction. In every room, chaos has a rhythm. The market crashes, people panic. Arguments start, people raise voices. Plans fall apart. People run for comfort. But a calm man moves in the opposite direction. He slows down. He listens. He sees what others miss, while others drown in emotion. He watches the current, waits for the right opening, and acts once decisively. That is the Stoic essence. To be still inside while the world screams outside. To stay anchored when life pulls at you from all sides. To never let urgency rewrite your values. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." And calm is the purest kind of bravery because it requires complete trust in your own strength. When you are calm, You no longer need to force anything. You attract. You influence by presence, not pressure. People follow you because they feel safe around your steadiness. A calm man is a mirror. He reflects everyone as chaos back to them. And in his reflection, they see themselves clearly. Some are inspired, others are intimidated, but all of them feel it. That's why calm men are rare today, because calm cannot be built through shortcuts. It is forged through failures, humiliation, and pain. You earn it the same way. You earn strength through repetition. Every argument you don't engage in, every insult you let pass without reaction, every delay you endure without complaint, each one sharpens your composure. And one day, you wake up and realize that nothing external can shake you anymore. Not because the world got easier, but because you got stiller. The man who stays calm has already won half the battle. Because calmness is control, control of breath, control of emotion, control of direction. And when you master that control, the world bends around you. Opportunities appear, people listen. Respect arrives quietly, without demand. That's the secret they never tell you. Rage makes noise. Calm makes movement. The loud man impresses for a moment. The calm man influences for a lifetime. And that's why in this new world where everyone is shouting, performing, and panicking, the most powerful man is the one who remains still. Because calm isn't the opposite of strength. Calm is strength, refined. It is thunder, contained in silence. Chapter 3. Firmness, the language of boundaries. A man without boundaries is a man without shape. He bends to fit every demand, and in doing so, he disappears. Firmness is not about hardness. It is about clarity. It has the ability to say no without hate, to draw a line without noise, to protect your peace without apology. Weak men fear rejection, so they agree to everything. Strong men fear self-betrayal, so they don't. Every time you say yes to something unworthy, you say no to yourself. Every time you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you create a deeper war inside. Firmness is not cruelty. It is self-respect, expressed through consistency. It is the refusal to break your own rules just to make others comfortable. The Stoics lived by this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That is firmness, deciding what you stand for, and standing there even when it costs you. The world tests boundaries constantly. People will push, not out of malice, but to see what you allow. And when you bend too easily, you teach them to keep pushing. Firmness teaches people how to treat you. It sets the rhythm of respect. It says, I am kind, but I am not soft. I am patient, but I am not endless. The calm man draws boundaries not with anger, but with presence. He doesn't need to threaten, he simply means what he says. And that is the rarest power there is, to speak once and be understood. Because firmness isn't about controlling others. It is about mastering yourself enough to not need to. A man who enforces boundaries with peace is the most respected man alive. Chapter 4. The discipline of emotion. Emotion is not weakness. It is energy, pure, raw, and tamed. It is the storm inside every man that can either destroy him or drive him to greatness. The weak are slaves to emotion. The strong are masters of it. Not because they feel less, but because they've learned to feel without losing control. A man who can govern his emotions can govern his life. You can have dreams, discipline, intelligence, but if anger owns your hands, if fear owns your decisions, if pride owns your words, you are still not free. Freedom begins with restraint, not suppression, but direction. The Stoics never taught man to bury emotion. They taught them to use it. Anger can become drive. Fear can become focus. Sadness can become wisdom. Even heartbreak can become hunger for purpose. It is not about erasing what you feel. It is about commanding it, turning chaos into clarity, fire into light. Marcus Aurelius wrote, You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's the key. The moment you stop demanding the world to change and start mastering your own temperature, you become untouchable. The discipline of emotion means this: to keep your heart warm but your mind cool, to feel deeply but act deliberately. Most men today overreact to everything. They confuse passion with purpose. They let emotion decide what reason should command. But the respected man, he has built different. He feels the same chaos, the same temptations, but he doesn't serve them. He watches them like clouds, passing, shifting, temporary. He knows that no emotion deserves permanent decisions. So he waits, he breathes, he observes, and when he finally moves, it acts with precision, not impulse. That's real strength, the ability to choose calm when rage is easier. The courage to speak truth gently when shouting would feel powerful. That's the discipline of emotion, to be the eye of your own storm. Still, focused, clear, the world spins, but you remain centered. And people feel that, they trust it. Because in a world of volatility, a man who governs himself is a man others can follow. That's why emotional discipline isn't about control, it's about leadership. And the first person you must learn to lead is yourself. Chapter 5. How weak men lose respect. Respect isn't taken from man, they give it away. Not all at once, but piece by piece. Each time they choose comfort over conviction. Each time they trade truth for attention. Each time they let emotion make them smaller. Weakness doesn't start in the body. It starts in the spine of the mind. It starts the first time a man lies to himself and calls it compromise. Weak men talk too much. They explain their worth instead of living it. They want to be liked, not trusted. And the moment you need to be liked, you lose authority. You see, people don't respect perfect men, they respect consistent ones. But weakness breaks consistency. It bends rules when pressure comes. It hides behind words when courage is required. A weak man blames. A strong man adjusts. A weak man reacts to insults. A strong man ignores them. A weak man seeks comfort in every storm. A strong man becomes the calm. The reason weak men lose respect is simple: they are too available. Available for gossip. Available for distractions. Available for anyone who wants their time, attention, or validation. The strong man knows that his energy is currency. He spends it with precision. He guards it like something sacred, because he knows, if everyone can reach you, no one values you. Weak men are loud about principles they've never practiced. They post their strength instead of proving it. They demand loyalty they haven't earned. But the strong man, he never demands. He earns. He builds himself so deliberately that people want to follow. Not out of fear, but respect. And here's the paradox. Weak men chase attention. Strong men attract it. Weak men beg for recognition. Strong men create results. Weak men talk about being real. Strong men simply are. So if you want respect, stop performing. Stop explaining. Start embodying. The moment you stop chasing approval, people start paying attention. Because they sense something, they can manipulate a man with his own gravity. And that's the line between the weak and the respected. The weak adapt to everyone around them. The respected man makes everyone adapt to him. Chapter 6. Strength without anger. Anger is easy. Anyone can raise their voice, tighten their fists, or explode when challenged. But strength, true strength, it has something else entirely. A strong man doesn't need to be loud to be dangerous. He doesn't need to shout to make his presence felt, because his calm is the warning. His silence is the edge. Anger is a spark, fast, bright, and stupid. It burns everything, including the one who lit it. Strength is fire, steady, controlled, intentional. It gives light, it gives warmth, but it never loses direction. Weak men confuse rage for power. They think yelling proves dominance. But a man who must explode to feel strong was never strong to begin with. The Stoics taught that power begins where anger ends, when emotion fades and clarity takes the throne. That's when control starts. Because control is what separates a soldier from a savage. The strong man has teeth, but he keeps them hidden. He knows he can destroy, and that's exactly why he doesn't need to. There is no chaos in him. Only readiness, no desperation, only discipline, no panic, only presence. People often mistake that stillness for softness. Until they cross the line, then they learn. The calmest man in the room is also the one most capable of ending the storm. Strength without anger is terrifying, because it is precise. You can predict it, can manipulate it, can feed on it. It strikes only when necessary, and it always finishes what it starts. This is the masculine paradox. To be capable of great violence, yet choose peace. To be unbreakable, yet gentle with those who deserve it. That is what makes a man respected. Not his volume, not his fury, but his restraint. He has a storm that learned manners. He has chaos that learned to obey its master. Seneca said, anger is like a falling rock. Once it starts, it is hard to stop. The strong man builds a wall inside himself not to block emotion, but to guide it. He lets anger become awareness. He lets frustration become focus. And because of that, he is the one others look to when things go wrong. He becomes the anchor in every storm, the calm eye when everyone else loses control. Strength without anger isn't weakness. It is evolution. It is the moment when you no longer need to prove your power, you simply are power. That is the energy of the Stoic warrior, quiet, dangerous, disciplined. A man who smiles not because he is soft, but because nothing can shake him anymore. Chapter 7. The quiet authority of a Stoic mind. Authority doesn't always speak. Sometimes it just is. It is the air that changes when a grounded man walks into a room. Not because he demands attention, but because his energy tells the truth before his mouth does. The Stoic mind has gravity. It doesn't chase. It doesn't react. It doesn't need to compete, because it is already anchored in something deeper, inner order. You can fake that kind of authority. You can dress like it, talk like it, act like it, but people always feel the difference. True authority isn't costume. It is consequence. It is what happens when a man has spent years disciplining his thoughts, his emotions, his impulses. The Stoic man doesn't speak often, but when he does, his words carry weight because they come from silence, not ego. They come from reflection, not reaction. He isn't trying to sound wise. He is simply telling the truth he already paid for an experience. And people feel that. They trust it. Because truth spoken from stillness cuts deeper than 1,000 loud opinions. Authority doesn't come from control over others. It comes from mastery of yourself. When you stop being tossed by emotions, when no flattery can inflate you and no insult can shake you, you become unmovable. You stop being part of the noise and start becoming the measure of it. In a world obsessed with image, a calm mind is rebellion. When everyone else is talking, thinking, scrolling, shouting, the man who listens becomes the one who leads. That is the quiet authority of the Stoic mind. It doesn't need to prove. It demonstrates. It doesn't need followers. It earns them through integrity. It doesn't need dominance. It radiates direction. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, but he still wrote every night reminding himself to stay humble. Why? Because he understood that the hardest kingdom to govern is the one inside your own skull. And when you conquer that, people sense it. They move differently around you. They speak more carefully, not out of fear, but out of recognition that they are standing near something solid, something they want to become. That is how a Stoic man commands without control. He leads without words. He influences without effort, because his life is the loudest message he'll ever send. The world doesn't need more talkers. It needs more men whose thoughts are aligned with their actions, whose silence feels like certainty, whose composure feels like safety. That's the kind of authority no title can give you and no crowd can take away. Because it isn't built on approval, it's built on alignment. And when a man reaches that state, he stops trying to be powerful. He simply becomes peaceful, and that peace itself is power. Chapter 8. The balance of mercy and edge. A respected man isn't just sharp, he is measured. He knows when to cut, and when to heal, when to speak, and when to stay silent, when to fight, and when to forgive. Mercy without edge becomes weakness. Edge without mercy becomes cruelty. But when both live in balance, that's when a man becomes complete. There is a time to hold your ground, and a time to let someone else save face. A time to say enough, and a time to simply walk away. The difference is wisdom, the quiet intuition that tells you which is which. The weak confuse mercy with softness. They forgive to avoid conflict. They give chances not from strength, but from fear of being alone. Their kindness has no spine, and so no one values it. The strong forgive without forgetting. They show mercy not because they must, but because they can. Because they've mastered themselves enough to choose compassion even when revenge is easy. That is the difference between a boy and a man. A boy needs to win every battle. A man chooses which wars are worth his fire. Edge gives a man respect. Mercy gives him depth. Edge commands. Mercy connects. People may admire your power, but they remember your restraint. Because restraint is where integrity lives. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." That is mercy with edge. That is power with direction. Being respected doesn't mean being feared. It means being understood. It means people know you are capable of harm, but you choose harmony instead. The sharpest swords are not the ones that swing wildly. They are the ones that stay in the sheath until absolutely necessary. A man who has edge but no mercy is dangerous. A man who has mercy but no edge is ignored. But a man who can hold both, he becomes legend, because he is not driven by emotion anymore. He is guided by principle. He can protect without destroying. He can forgive without forgetting. He can love without losing himself. And that balance, that rare, heavy balance, is what earns not fear but reverence. Chapter 9. The test of pressure. Pressure is the truest mirror of a man. It strips away image, illusion, and pretends, leaving only what is real. Anyone can look composed when life is easy, but when the storm hits, when the money disappears, when betrayal bites, when everything you planned burns down, that is when the truth steps forward. Pressure doesn't create weakness, it reveals it, and that is why most people run from it. They don't want to see what is underneath the mask. But the respected man, he doesn't run. He stands still and watches himself break, and then rebuilds what is left, stronger and simpler. The Stoics knew this test well. They didn't pray for lighter burdens. They prayed for stronger backs, because pressure isn't punishment, it is permission. Permission to grow into what you said you wanted to be. Every man speaks of discipline, patience, focus until pressure shows up and asks for proof. Until time runs short, until plans collapse, until silence becomes unbearable. That is when we see who trained for comfort and who trained for war. The weak fold fast. They curse, they panic, they blame, because their strength was decoration, not foundation. The strong inhale, recenter, and move forward, not faster, just steadier. Because they understand one thing most never will. You can control the storm, only your posture within it. Pressure tests your posture. It asks, can you stay calm when no one helps you? Can you stay honest when fear whispers shortcuts? Can you stay kind when the world goes cold? Those are the questions that define a man. And your answers are not words, they are reactions. Every time you face pressure and stay composed, you build an invisible muscle, one that doesn't show in mirrors, but commands them. Pressure turns noise into clarity. It burns away the unnecessary, leaving only what matters: your principles, your patience, your presence. You learn that nothing external was ever yours, not the title, not the comfort, not the applause. The only thing you truly own is how you stand when everything else falls. And when you pass that test, when the weight grows heavy and you still don't bow, something shifts inside you forever. You stop chasing peace because you become it. You stop demanding respect because you embody it. You stop fearing pressure because you finally realize pressure was never your enemy. It was your forge. Chapter 10. The man who needs no validation. The highest form of strength is quiet. It doesn't ask to be seen. It doesn't chase approval. It simply exists. A man who needs no validation has already passed the hardest test, the need to be understood. He no longer argues to prove a point, no longer performs to impress, no longer bends himself to fit small minds. He moves like water, calm, deliberate, and unstoppable, because he knows something most men never learn. Validation is a drug. And once you're addicted to it, you lose yourself trying to feed it. Every like, every compliment, every reaction, it feels good, but it costs your center. The man who needs no validation has outgrown that hunger. He has learned to stand alone, to live by his own rhythm, to measure himself not by applause, but by alignment. He doesn't need the world to agree with him. He only needs his conscience to stay clean. He doesn't need to win arguments. He wins in silence because truth doesn't need defenders. He doesn't dress to impress, he dresses to express discipline. He doesn't post his grind, he lives it. He doesn't shout that he is strong, he proves it by staying calm when others break. That's the paradox of real men. The more they know themselves, the less they need from others. They stop competing, they stop chasing, they start being. This is what the Stoics meant by freedom: to walk through life untouched by noise, unbothered by judgment, unshaken by praise. To live with the serenity of knowing that everything you need is already inside you. Because the moment you stop begging for validation, you gain something better: respect. Not the kind people say out loud, but the kind they feel in your presence. The quiet, unspoken kind that makes others straighten up when you enter a room. You earn that not through performance, but through peace, not through dominance, but through direction. The man who needs no validation becomes validation itself, a living reminder that strength isn't about being seen, it is about being solid. He is not chasing the crowd anymore, he is walking his path. He doesn't look sideways, he doesn't look back. He looks inward and keeps moving forward. And that is the secret of a respected man. His peace is proof. His calm is command. His firmness is faith. He doesn't need the world to say he is enough, because he already is.